Hello and welcome to Algebra 1, number 6. Let's go ahead and get started. Graph the equation y equals 3 over 2x minus 4. So we all know what slope is. That tells us the steepness. And using rise over run, you can very easily draw an equation or graph an equation. But you need a starting point. And how you're going to figure out what that starting point is by looking at the number that's not by the x. That right there tells you what's your y-intercept. So remember when we're talking about graphs, this bar right here, that line right there is the y going down the middle, and then the x is the one that goes left to right. So you're looking for the y-intercept, which is the line that intercepts or hits the y. First of all, which is going to be a plot point. So we're going to make a set of parentheses. And the y-intercept is always going to have a 0 in the x position. Always. Just start that way when you're trying to find a y-intercept. Now what goes in the y position is that number I circled in green there. And that right there is your y-intercept. That's your starting point. So I'm going to go ahead and plot it. Right there. Now I can look at the slope. Remember, that's your 3 over 2. And rise over run. Now mine is, I typed mine in and it looks like there's 3/2. So you can go left to right, but yours is 3 on top of a 2. And that's how it's going to look on the test. The top number is how much you go up. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3. And then we go to the right 2, because 2 is on the bottom. 1, 2. And then we are going to connect the dots. Now you want to draw your lines like right through the corner, the cross section of your graph. I'm not as accurate as you will be with a pen as I am on a tablet. But that's it. That's how you would graph that. You find the y-intercept. Then do rise over run and draw. So let's go ahead and look at another example. Graph the equation x plus y equals 2. Now, you cannot start doing rise over run, slope, any of that until you solve for y. You have to have a positive y equals. Right now we got x plus y equals. So we're going to change that. So we're going to solve for y. So subtract x, and now we have y equals 2 minus x. And now we can solve. Now, you might be confused because like, hey, wait a minute, the x isn't in front, the 2's in front. It doesn't matter. Your slope with a negative x, remember the ninja one, hey, is going to go right in front of the x. And then if you don't have a fraction for slope, make into a fraction. So negative 1 over 1, that's going to be your slope. But first, we get ahead of ourselves. We need to figure out our y-intercept. So for y-intercept, you always put a 0 in the x position, and then you just take that number right there, and there's your y-intercept. Go ahead and plot that. I'm a little bit off right there. You want to be right on the corner. They're not going to put fractions in your coordinates for this. And then go rise over run. So now with a negative, remember that means you go down 1, but always to the right. And then you're going to connect the dots. Mine's a little inaccurate. You want to try to connect the dots. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And that would be it. When you're doing these practice ones, go ahead and label your dots. That's probably a good way to practice. And it's also a good way for me to check to make sure you're putting them in the right place. And make your dots nice and big. Okay, so another example. Number 3, what is the x-intercept of the line 3x minus y equals 6? All right, so when you're graphing anything or trying to find the intercept of anything, normally you would make it y equals, but in this case, y-intercept is when you have the 0 in the x position. X-intercept is when you have the 0 in the y position. Now, there's a number of ways you can solve this. The easiest way is we're assuming that y is 0, so go ahead and substitute y for 0. 3x minus 0 equals 6. Now solve for x. We know that's going to go away. So divide, x equals 2. So put that 2 there, and there's your answer, x-intercept. Very similar when you have what is the y-intercept of the line. Okay, remember that with a y-intercept, we always assume that x is 0, and it's the other one we got to figure out. So let's go ahead and substitute. So we got 4, and x is 0, plus 5y, which we don't know yet, equals 20. And 4 times 0 is just going to be 0. So now we can just divide by 5, y equals positive 4. I don't know why that negative is coming to my brain. So we put a 4 over here, and then that's it. Easy as pie. So go ahead and go on to the practice just like the last one. If you can get 1 through 6 done without any help and all correct, I'm just going to skip the homework for you, because this is one where once you get it, you probably got it for quite some time. Thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.